Hi, my name is Jay, and in this video we are going to talk about the Indo-Greek invasions of India. Now, before I talk about the invasions, we have to first understand that this was not a single invasion. There were multiple invasions, and these invasions were led by different rulers who existed at different period of time. Now, when it comes to the time period, we are talking about the first half of 2nd century BC, that is around 200 BC to 150 BC. So this was the period during which the first phase of the invasions in the Indian subcontinent was carried out by the Indo-Greek. Now when it comes to the Indo-Greek, we know that their center of power was the kingdom of Bactria, and we find that the kingdom of Bactria and the Mauryan Empire had close trade relations. The fact that the Bactrians and the Mauryans had close trade relations meant that when after the death of Ashoka, the Mauryan control over northwest weakened, the Bactrians were well aware of this fact. The Mauryan control over the northwest had weakened to such an extent that when Seleucid Emperor Antiochus III, after forming an agreement with the Bactrian kingdom, decided to march back his army to the west, he crossed that Mauryan territory, and while crossing the Mauryan territory, he did not encounter any Mauryan army. For the Bactrian Greeks, when they saw that an army could easily enter the Mauryan territory without any opposition by the Mauryans, they knew that they could easily conquer these territories without fearing an attack by the Mauryan army. So that is what happened, and the first ruler who invaded the Mauryan territories in the south was Demetrius I. As it was expected, when Demetrius I crossed the Hindu Kush and entered into the Mauryan Empire, he did not found any opposition, and because of this he was able to conquer all the territories which lay west of the Khyber Pass. The fact that there was no opposition from the Mauryan Empire meant that Demetrius I had the time to consolidate his new conquered territories, and in these conquered territories he founded two new cities. The first was in Arcosia and the second was in the Sindh region. Demetrius I was also lucky because he did not face any threat from the west, as during this period the Seleucid Empire was engaged in a war with the Roman Empire. So Demetrius I could focus all his attention on conquering the Indian territories. But the fact that Demetrius I had conquered such a large territory in such a short time meant that he needed governors to govern these new territories. Now, Demetrius I knew that if he appointed a Bactrian official as a governor of these territories, they could easily revolt. So to address this problem, Demetrius I invented a new type of institution. This was the institution of sub-kingship. Now in this institution, what happened was that the sons or brothers of the king were appointed as governors of a province, and they were not governors but de facto rulers because they issued their own coins and they had royal titles. Because of this institution of sub-kingship, Demetrius I did not have to worry about a revolt by a particular governor. Because of the institution of sub-kingship, when Demetrius I was conquering the Mauryan territory, during the same time in Bactria, his younger brother Euthydemus II was conquering the territories which lay north of Bactria. Apart from this, Demetrius I had also appointed his two sons Agathocles and Pantaleon as joint governor of the Mauryan province of Arcosia. Arcosia was the region which is in modern day North Baluchistan and the region of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Now when it comes to the invasion of India proper, earlier it was believed that Demetrius I had organized a massive expedition into India and his armies were led by his two famous generals who were Menander and Apollodotus. And we were told that Demetrius I had established a new capital in Takshila. But recent scholarship had provided us a new picture. Archaeological data from Gandhar region as a whole and also from Takshila reveals that the coins of Demetrius I are quite rare in this region. The fact that there are very few coins of Demetrius I in Gandhar region means that most of the territories which were conquered by Demetrius I lay west of Khyber Pass. Demetrius I died around 185 BC, and when Demetrius I died, there was a revolt in Bactria, and the Bactrian throne was captured by a Greek named Antimachus Theos. Now, Antimachus Theos had a quite interesting history. Antimachus's father was Diodotus II, who was assassinated by Euthydemus, and as we know, Euthydemus was the father of Demetrius I. This suggests that Antimachus had somehow survived the killing of his father by Euthydemus, and Antimachus was waiting for a right opportunity to seize the Bactrian throne. And this opportunity came when Demetrius I died around 185 BC. When Antimachus had seized the Bactrian kingdom, in Arachosia, we find that the sons of Demetrius, Agathocles and Pantaleon, were ruling. So during this period, there were two Indo-Greek kingdoms. The first was in Bactria, which was ruled by Antimachus Theos, and the second was in Arachosia, which was ruled by Demetrius' first two sons, Agathocles and Pantaleon. After ascending the Bactrian throne, Antimachus also organized several incursions into India proper, but it was under his son we find that in 180 BC the conquest of Kabul Valley and Gandhar region happened. Now there is something strange about the name of Antimachus's son. His name was Demetrius II, and as we know, Antimachus's enemy was Demetrius I. So it is quite strange that Antimachus had named his son after his enemy. Antimachus Theos and his son Demetrius II also tried to conquer the kingdom of Arachosia, but all of these attempts failed. Now we find that when Demetrius II was in Gandhar and was organizing further expedition into India, we find that there was a revolt in Bactria. In order to crush this revolt, Demetrius II with all his army traveled back to Bactria. This meant that now there was no army in Gandhar region. The return of Demetrius II to Bactria was exploited by the two brothers who ruled Arachosia. And we find that after the return of Demetrius II to Bactria, they were quickly able to capture the Gandhar region. After capturing the Gandhar region, Takshashila became their new capital, and from Takshashila they organized another expedition, and from this expedition they were able to capture the Eastern Punjab as well. Thus, the territories which were ruled by this brother extended from Arachosia in the west to the Eastern Punjab, and their capital was Takshashila. We find that after some time, Pantaleon died and Agathocles remained the sole ruler of this large territory. Now let's see what happened in Bactria. As we have discussed earlier, Demetrius II left the Gandhar region to crush the revolt in Bactria. Here in Bactria, a Greek official named Eucratides had proclaimed himself a new king. And we find that around 165 BC this had happened, and there were several battles between Eucratides and Demetrius II, and in the end there was a battle in which Demetrius II died. But Demetrius II had a son who survived the killing of his father, and this son of Demetrius II fled from Bactria to Takshashila where Agathocles ruled. And in Takshashila we find that Agathocles married his daughter to him. Now do you know who this son of Demetrius II who fled from Bactria to Takshashila and married the daughter of Agathocles was? He was Menander, or Milind as he was called in Indian tradition. And in the next video we are going to talk about Menander. Now if you want to know about the earlier history of Indo-Greeks, consider watching this video. Thank you for watching.